Hi, we're here for the daily Forex report for April 13th. We are looking at the U.S.-Japanese yen pair first. This particular pair closed down today. It did break previous support, but pulled back significantly prior to the close. We are looking for this pair to continue moving sideways with a bias that is sideways. Look for it to potentially go as high as 93.91, possibly as low as 92.07. Look for some resistance around 93.60 and look for some support around 92.50. Okay, now looking at the Euro USD pair, this particular pair did move lower, didn't quite fill the gap as of yet. Closed up higher though. We are looking for this pair to be moving to the downside, overall moving sideways if you look long term. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 136.84, possibly as low as 134.67. Look for some resistance around 13700 and look for some support around 135.25. Okay, now the pound US dollar pair. This particular pair formed a swing trade setup. You can see the line there. We'll get into that here in a little bit. It did move higher but move lower and close near its open, fairly close anyway. Look for it to potentially go as high as 155.23, possibly as low as 152.41. Look for some resistance around 154.95 and look for some support around 153.25. Okay, now the US Swiss, this pair created an inside bar today, did close down. We are looking for it to move to the upside. Look for it to potentially go as high as 10662, possibly as low as 10487. Look for some resistance around 10650 and look for some support around 10505. Well, as far as news announcements go, we do have the advanced retail sales for March being released for the U.S. at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Consensus on that is that it has moved a little bit higher from 0.3% to 1%, which would be good news for the U.S. dollar. The year to date, they're showing the CPI moving for March, moving from 2.1% to 2.4%. So not a huge jump there, but definitely something to keep an eye on. That's at 8:30 as well, a.m. Eastern Time. At 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke speaking to a joint committee of economic or joint economic committee, and that's at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, as far as what I'm looking at, we have the U.S. Swiss here that has created an inside bar. Definitely looking for it to potentially break that. I know it's already broken it here. Definitely keep an eye on this if it continues lower. If it does, look for it to come on down to the 1.0488 mark, which would be roughly about 40 pips or 30 pips. Definitely look for it, if it moves to the upside, to go ahead and retrace the gap all the way up about 37 pips to the upside from 1.0616 to 1.0654. Now, the pound US dollar pair, as we talked about a while ago, has created a swing trade setup. It did tag that trend line on the low. Look for a break to the downside. If it does, look for it to hit previous resistance, which would now be support. If you take a look at those numbers, roughly about 50 pips. So you can definitely keep an eye on that. So a little bit on the price action of today. It's what I'm looking for. Still looking for the Euro USD to close this gap that has occurred, so definitely keep an eye on that. Overall, that's pretty much what's going on. May have a thin or light session prior to the U.S. news announcement, so definitely keep an eye on that. Well, that pretty much wraps us up for today. So until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.